Welcome back. It's Wednesday. We're in the workshop. It's a workshop Wednesday. It's a hobby hangout. We're doing the thing. We're back with a live stream again for our weekly hangs or semi-weekly, however often we're able to get them on the go here. But it's Wednesday and we're back and we are painting some frickin' super mutants. The biggest super mutant on the block, Swan. We are in, what, session 5? I think, of painting up this, I was about to say a little beauty, but a very large beauty, and we're going to be going on strong with this project here today. Going to be painting for around an hour or so. See some familiar faces here in the chat. We got Corbin Bear hanging out. Always good to see sir. We've got, who else? We got Leon Jones. Leon Jones, welcome to the stream today. We've got Mads Destruction. Yuri, my better half, is also in the chat hanging out here as he likes to do. So we got the whole gang showing up today, and I'm sure we'll have more folks coming in as we go. Always great to have these sort of more chill, relaxed live streams where we get to connect with all of you fine folks who we make all of these fine videos for. We don't do it for ourselves, we do it for you guys, and we have a little bit of fun while we do it too. So let me know what you're working on there in the chat. If you're working on anything, if you're, just hanging out, watching some videos, that's cool too. But if you're crafting something, let me know what you're crafting and working on. And we're going to be doing some action here today on the sickness of the thickness, Swan's big old dumper and his diaper that's surrounding his dumper. We're going to kind of work on his lower extremities or his middle extremity, as it were, on this one. Play around with some speed paints, do some edge highlighting, a little bit of dry brushing in there. We're gonna be pulling from a big old bag of tricks. So it's good to see some folks, like I said, in the chat there. Simon Lamb says, wow, so big. Yeah, he's a big boy. For comparison's sake, I like to keep the starter set Super Mutant Brute handy to size up. Yeah, there's been a bit of scale creep, as you can imagine, throughout the years with Wasteland Warfare. Swan is I think he's the second biggest model technically in the range, next to the Mirelurk Queen, if I have my sizes correct, because he's a little bit bigger than the Behemoth, the standard Behemoth. So yeah, he's a chunky boy, but we're going to tackle him here together and get rolling. So let's get some painting jams, sorry. Supposed to say tunes and jams. Tunes, if you will, on the go as we get things rocking and rolling here. So the last week, or I guess it was week after last, because we weren't here last week, but we tackled the ever nasty looking anchor here with all kinds of sponging, with 3 different metallics and a bunch of different corrosive colors. Might give it a wash at some point, but we're going to move on from that today, and as mentioned, go right into his diaper. So we'll pop up the, I'd like to keep the box art handy here for you folks. Hold on as I do this studio mode thing here. We'll get Swan up there. As you can see, it's not the greatest picture, but in the box art and in the game himself, he's got kind of a red sort of breeches thing going on. I'm so tempted to go purple because it would be very Incredible Hulk, but I think it might be a little too on the nose. So we're gonna stick with red. Is gonna be the plan. Gonna take advantage of our underpainting, dry brushing here. Use some Flesh Terrors red, one of my favorite reds, at least for a base layer, on this bad boy. And he's not sticking to my painting handle very well, so we're just gonna free ball him here. He's big enough. We'll just perch onto him there. So we'll start ahead with that. Mix it up with a little bit of. This almost used hard coat. This is the wrong stuff. This is the stuff I was looking for. Deceptively similar bottles. This is contrast medium. This is varnish. So that would have been really bad. Oops. We're just gonna go ahead and put that away, and I'm gonna put it on a different rack so we don't make that mistake in the future. We're gonna mix this up here with a little bit of contrast medium to lighten it up a little bit, because it is very intense pigment. And then we're gonna go to town and see how that looks. So nothing too scientific here, although I am gonna use my little pipette here because I just got some new ones and that's what they're there for. So just double check. Yes, contrast medium. Okay, we're good. So A little bit of that in there. And now this stuff. The good stuff. Dave Letiza says, got the starter box and Super Mutant Core painted up, working on BOS Core today. Nice. Is that the original, the OG Wave 2, I guess it was, or Wave 1 actually? Brotherhood Core set, or the newer T45 slash Capital Wasteland stuff? There's no wrong answer. Both are great kits. Okay. Got a little too much on the brush here. So we got this mixed up in our little pink cup here. Not using this on the wet palette because contrast medium plus contrast paint plus a little bit of water reacts really weird. So mixing it up in this little cup here to give myself a little bit better control of what the paint's gonna do, because I have no idea how this is gonna look. So let's find out. Looks like the color red. So far, so good. Oh yeah, look, you see how intense that pigment is, hey? And try to avoid some of the, you know, finer details, like the chains and the skulls and stuff. With the bigger brush, going with the detail later. But it's okay if we get over top of that stuff. Contrast paint, because it, the way it dries, especially with the medium, thinning it down a bit here, doesn't usually play too badly if you just want to throw it all over something that has some smaller details like this, come back in a little later. We're going to take the time on this because, well, it's a show piece, if you will. But normally I would just slap this all on, go back in later with a metallic, call it a day. Dave says, oh, the original core set. Yes, nice. That's a great one. Mainly because it's got the Lancers in it, if memory serves, which are low-key my fave BOS unit in the whole game. In fact, I've got one right here. I'm working on, courtesy of our friend Devin Shipwreck. Devin420 sent over a whole whack of stuff that we're working on, or that I'm working on. For, well, some Brotherhood of Steel themed stuff that's coming to the channel soon. Hoping to film that this weekend, if all goes according to plan. Battle reports have been slow going since getting the new machine, our new editing computer, mainly because they are very labor intensive. I know, folks, they're coming. I've got one in the can, two in the can, another one coming, but they take a really long time to edit. And, old Ryan's got a day job too, unfortunately. But, very excited to bust out some Capital stuff. Bring the Lancers out to play, because I haven't had those on the channel yet. And like I say, those things with the sniper rifle, oh yeah. Scott James, good to see you. Hey guys, looking forward to painting alongside as always. Good to see you in the chat. Scott, what you working on today? What are you working on today? We got Swan's breeches on the go. Mad's Destruction says, oh, it was the 2014 edition. Had in the cupboard collecting dust. Oh, Space Hulk. Yes, nice, for the first time. You know, I've never played the actual, like, Space Hulk game. I've taken my Terminators for a walk against some Gene Stealers, but never in the actual OG. Go, looking pretty good there. Just gonna block in some of that. And come in with a smaller brush. This is our first painting stream back since the ModCon reveals. Some big and exciting stuff on that. I'm sure most of you have seen the Nuka World recap that came out last Monday, if memory serves. We've got a new video coming out, should be by the end of the week, maybe first thing next week, again, depending time permitting, where we're going to be talking all about, and I'll pull it up here, this little bit of information. I wonder what the next wave could be. Fallout 76, perhaps? I knew it. I told you guys like a year ago. I put out that video saying Fallout 76 is coming, and we are here. So that'll be coming out soon. But I'm really stoked for some of the stuff we saw in Nuka World. More than I expected to be quite honest. The plastic XO1 kits were a complete surprise. Did not see those coming at all. Very, very excited to see that they're on the chopping block. Not sure when those are going to be released, but I'd imagine they're probably going to be doing... It's really weird. We haven't heard a lot about this wave as far as like when stuff's coming. Not enjoying that, but I imagine they got to do the Raiders first, right? Like, it's the wave is all about Raiders. You got to kind of get through the Raiders before you get to the other stuff, right? I don't know. But I'm really excited for those XO1s, the new Mirelurk stuff. Oh yeah, Nuka Lurks, very cool. You've been able to kind of play Nuka Lurks with like some of the creature mods and stuff. Actually, if you check out my the Mirelurks versus Robots battle report, I kind of made like a homebrewed Nuka Lurk force there. But it's really interesting to see that they're going to be getting a full-on sort of like creature sub-faction, which is cool. Scott James is painting up a Raider Scaver. I've got converted to look like your Fallout 76 character. Nice. Nice. I actually did something very, very similar. Oh, and here he is here. My Tricentennial XO1, which is rarely when I do log into 76, this is what you'd find me wearing. I was very, very happy to paint that up. I haven't busted that model out in a while yet, actually. Might be time to revisit an old settlement campaign. Settlement mode game. Mads of Destruction says, can we tackle a sensitive subject? Is it time for a new edition of Fallout Wasteland Warfare? Opinions, please. That is a great topic of conversation. I'm glad you asked. I would agree. I would absolutely agree. At the very least, failing a whole new edition, there ought to be something more like you know, to He Who Shall Not Be Named Games Workshop, similar to like the balanced data slate. Not in a like let's redo everybody's rules sort of way, but like, for example, the Nuka World book is going to have a bunch of updates to some rules, right? Like it's going to clarify and officially add a bunch of quick actions, you know, that have crept into the game over the years that weren't in the core book, and you know, clearing some things up like the auras. But then we're also going to see this big change with armor, which is really weird the way they're rolling it out. I don't know why they haven't just blank slated everything. I guess this is like a trial run, but like, are they gonna undo it if it doesn't work and give everybody static armor values again? No. So for that reason alone, because there's a bunch of changes that are coming in this expansion that are technically part of the core rules of the game, yes, I think that there should be there are things that could be streamlined, right? You could argue that the armor change is, at least in theory, done with the idea of streamlining or optimizing or rejigging a game mechanic, but it's also gonna require more cards, right? More armor cards. Because not just for you and me when we're playing the game, but like they're gonna have to start introducing more of them. And a really big sticking point for this current dev team's evolution of the game was less cards. So I don't know. I like the idea. I don't know why we haven't just gone with a full reset, kind of like you're suggesting. Everybody's armor flat if you're a human. And go from there. I don't know why it's being staggered the way it is, because I think it's a good opportunity for like what we're talking about here, a bit of a rejig. I think the crits system needs to be absolutely streamlined and simplified. Cover needs a fucking absolute ground up rebuild. Because it's just punishing. There needs to be a cap. There needs to be a cap on shooting through cover. Because like you can edge case your way through to like a -8 on the dice. And when most things are hitting on like 3s and 4s and 5s, except for your elite units, like you're never hitting unless you're hitting a crit. Which again, I think crits need to be completely overhauled. I think I would like to see crits work on you roll a crit, you do a crit damage. Sort of locking it into this heroic, uber tier hero super creatures stuff. I get it, but also the game would move so much quicker if just all of a sudden your 1 damage pipe rifle with 1 black and green dice on your raiders suddenly gets a bump, right? Because you just got a good roll, and there's a couple of crits on the dice. So yes, I think it's been long enough now that sort of the stopgap measures have kind of run their course. And yeah. Now, how or when any of that could happen, because there's a roadmap, right? Where something like that could slot in, I do not know. But yeah, I think some fundamental changes could really speed things up, and make the game more accessible. Do not get me wrong, absolutely love the game. I do love the system. It is so unbelievably different from a lot of more popular war games out there, which I think is good. But when you're kind of already working with some strikes against you, proprietary dice, really convoluted rule book, it's been a couple of years. Yeah, I think anything you can do to just bring down the brain is a way to go. That's just me. Let's see what you folks say. Oh, Scott James, I think I'd be calling for a new edition more if it wasn't expecting factions. Yes, to cater to your preferences more. Modifius must have learned a lot in the last 5 years, and they could bring to the game. I hope that characters will still have a built-in buff to their base armor values when the change comes in. Yeah, I could see that. Maybe strong armor outside of power armor. Yeah, that's a good thought. I mean, there are characters that sort of squeaks in there, the higher end sort of stuff. So yeah, I would be a fan of that as well, actually. Sort of giving characters a little more juice. Oh, Frost 001, good to see you again. Hello, thank you for joining the stream here today. Greetings all on the new releases. Wonder how hard it is to take the Raider rifles and give them to an XO1 power armor. Good question. I don't imagine it would be that difficult, to be honest with you. Looking at those sprues, they seem pretty choppable. The hands might be tricky. Oh, we're gonna go with a different red here. But depending on, the resin can be a little tricky to chop up kit bash wise, but I'd say it's definitely doable. Looking to do a Raider XO1 kit, that would be pretty cool. Busting out the deep red from AK Interactive here for some quick little highlights on the edges. I'm honestly debating doing a quick little dry brush, but let's just see how this looks. So I definitely don't want this to be sort of the focal point, but I do want to give it a little bit more life. Yeah, that's all right. But yeah, it's a very good point on factions, and I think, well, I have to be a little bit careful because there are some things I know that I can't say. Fly. I do think you're onto something there, Scott, regarding factions sort of being not a replacement for. It's definitely going to be an answer to the age-old battle mode question, right? In so much that it just isn't being supported anymore in any measurable way. But yeah, I think factions will kind of fill that gap where battle mode has been lacking, but also to that end, cater to a different sort of audience. Well, same audience, but maybe a different wargaming crowd, which I think is good. There's been worry that it'll mean less focus on Wasteland Warfare, but at least from the minis standpoint, I mean, everything's gonna be same scale and in theory eventually cross-compatible in some instances. So yeah, I think it will, like I say, sort of plug a hole, fill a gap, however you want to phrase it, while also addressing some things that might be missing in Wasteland Warfare, but it would still be kind of nice to see some of those issues addressed in the actual game system itself. But very curious to see how things are going to go with the factions rollout. I can't wait to really get my hands on it proper. Dave Letizia, if I'm pronouncing that right, says, just started the game, so hope the changes do not remove the figures I just got. I'm trying not to get too many cards sets since it sounds like they will be obsolete soon. Well, obsolete, yeah, tricky there. Yes, first of all, your models, you are very correct. There will be support for the game, for the models. Nothing is, they're not pulling a GW and sending certain models or data sheets or cards or whatnot into oblivion to never be seen again. But there are going to be changes, which I guess this is the one sort of thing where the way they're doing these armor changes and whatnot does make sense. because it's a forward-moving thing. So it's like from now on, things are different. How that's going to blend, but not change the older stuff, yet. Maybe. It's still a maybe. There's a good chance of it happening, as mentioned in previous videos, but it also could not if it doesn't work. And that's sort of I think that's the one sort of really interesting and saving grace with this whole thing, is that if it doesn't work, they'll do something else. I don't think that they're as married to, this is how it's got to be, as to what's going to be better for the game. So I think that's a positive in itself. But the nice thing is that, mini support and, the things that you've got won't be going anywhere at the very least, because cards right now, as long as they don't change this, are free if you want them for free as a PDF online. It's not the, tasty, hard and tactile card packs that we all love, but it is at the very least a, way to get around any sort of erratas for no cost to yourself. But I would not be too worried about sort of any big retroactive changes quite yet. We're gonna have to wait and see how Nuka World plays out, and very likely the Fallout 76 wave directly after that, before we see any rejigs. But we'll see. There we go. We got some highlights on his little pantaloons there. Nothing too crazy. Goes nice with the boat there, which is good. I will actually think that with that there, I'm just going to take a little bit of this red, mix it with a tiny bit of white, and do a very quick dry brush. It's almost a pink, you can see there. I'm doing it on his backside here first. It's a little thick. Try to give it almost like a more worn cloth kind of look. Break it up from the boat a bit. Very, very gentle with this. Red and green, very, very festive. He's got his Christmas colors. He's one of those, Swan's one of those basic bitches who gets, way too excited for Christmas before Halloween's even over. Just loves his hot chalky. Go. And Frost says, I'm guessing 76 will have the Scorched as a core faction, and possibly as a way to add other critters in with them due to how the plague works. It's a very good hypothesis you have put together there, Frost. Yeah, very interested. Very interested. Like I say, we've got a sort of a breakdown video coming up about all of the fun things that we could tell from this photo, which was shared at the end of the ModCon stream, which is very exciting. And you'll remember, if you watched my Fallout 76 is Coming video, a year ago, 11 months ago or so now, according to my math. In that video, we dissected some posts which seem to indicate that Wave 10, which is going to be the wave after Nuka World, so Fallout 76, is going to be a year long. So like all of 2024, Wave 10. So, does that mean it's all going to be Fallout 76 stuff? Will there be other bits and bobs thrown in there, like this rumored top-up wave we've heard so much about, which has just kind of never shown up. I don't know. But a full year is like 24 boxes at Modiphius's current schedule. 2 per month, if that stays consistent. That could be huge. Scorched, more mole miners. Well, actually, let's go through, like, what do we see in this picture here right now? We got a Scorch Beast in the middle. We got a Sheep Squatch, Mothman Cultist, what looks to be scorched hands reaching through. So, yeah, there's a lot that little teaser photo says just there, but that's not a year's worth of content, right? Just there. So there's a lot more stuff in there. I'm excited to see what it might be. But that's Swan's Breeches. I'm gonna call them done. It's a little, almost on the purple side, right? But it breaks it up a little bit from the, even though we're using pretty much the exact same colors. On the boat, it just breaks it up a little different. Now we're going to change things entirely. Work on this wood, his wood loincloth. We're gonna paint Swan's wood today. Yes, I know what I said. Going with hardened leather, one of my favorite browns for wood, even though it's leather. It's good on leather too. There's something about it with the lighter dry brush over top that says wood to me. I don't know what it is. It's a good question. How's the MCP video coming? I actually, believe it or not, have on my to-do list of painting stuff two heroes which need to get done so we can film that video. After almost what'll be going close to 2 years of wanting to do an MCP battle report, it is coming. It has been pushed back just due to a lot of what's been going on behind the scenes lately, from the upgrade challenge to doing more live streams. But I was actually talking a little bit earlier in the stream that battle reports have taken a bit of a back seat right now, unfortunately, just because of the labor intensity that they require on your humble host here. My day job has been significantly taxing lately and eating into channel time, but I mean, that's the way it goes. So it is coming is a short answer, but not before some other stuff is coming. So we got our little wood planks there. I'm gonna do a little zoomy zoom. There we go, that's looking better. But it is coming. As soon as I can get a couple X-Men painted up and get Justin over to do some filming. But it is coming. Oh, I've realized I've entirely missed a part of Swan's diaper here, right underneath the wood. Got the parts in between. Not the bottom there. Go. Oh, some on the wood. That's good. Dry brush will take care of that. Yes, very excited, and also before the end of the year, touch wood, another Star Wars Legion as well, on top of at least a few more Wasteland Warfare ones. But as mentioned, it's a good 40 hours minimum editing usually to put one of those together. At least at the level that we're trying to do them. I could sit with a camera and just one shot the whole thing. It doesn't have explosions and things. So it takes some effort, but I know, they're coming, but bandwidth, she tiny these days. But enough about me. Let's move on to ropes. Throwing ropes with Swan. We're gonna let that contrast paint dry there underneath. Gonna do a quick touch up on this wooden plank. I'm actually gonna get this full. There we go. Darken it up a bit. Very good. Now the ropes. More brown. Well, actually, yeah, we're gonna go with British uniform and then hemp rope. It's my favorite rope recipe. We may even move on to his leggy bits. I'm gonna probably save the Swan armor patch on his leg for when we tackle the entirety of the Swan. Seems like it'll make a lot more sense to do all that sort of in one fell swoop. Very delicate here, trying to do the down to out method of painting the details. Pretty standard, but always so stressful. Especially on little tiny things like this. Just using the edge of the brush. Just kiss it. Give it a little tiny kiss. Looking good. A Score P, what if you could see your dream MCP battle report, who would be in it? What factions would you want to see battle it out? I think we're gonna do X-Men versus Avengers. At least that's the plan right now. Or perhaps Spider Force. X-Men. Classic 90s X-Men. Frost asks, what program do I use for editing? I use DaVinci Resolve. It is a free video editing suite with a ton of really good features. Comparable to a Premiere Pro or like Logic or something like that. Final Cut. I've used a whole heck of a lot of editing stuff throughout my professional and semi-professional careers, and I very much enjoy it. It's free to download. There's like a paid version with like a bunch of extra fancy stuff, but we can't afford that, so we have the free version. Highly recommend it if you're looking into doing any sort of video editing stuff. Web Warriors versus Spider Foes would be classic. I would like that myself as a Spidey devotee. Don't have a good stock of Spider Foes, unfortunately. I think we've only got Doc Ock from the original core set. There's somebody else in there that I can't remember. But yeah, don't have enough to activate the faction bonus on them, unfortunately. So with that brown down, now we go with hemp rope. It's not all that lighter, brighter, but it does have more of a green, more of a yellow even. And even this British uniform has kind of like a greenish brown sort of tint to it. So these two play really well together and have that classic like yellow picked it up at the hardware store shitty nylon rope look to it. Joseph Brocky says, Ryan, oh, Joey, how you doing, buddy? I cannot take my eyes off that rusted anchor. The paint on it is absolutely perfect. Well, thank you, Joseph Brocky. Sponges. Sponges are your friends. Yep, just a dabble do ya. The more chaos you can go on that one, the better. But yes, 3 different metallics, a bronze, an iron, and a silver, and then like a rusty orange, and then 2 different blues, and 1 sea sponge. But thank you, sir. I'm very happy with how it turned out. Actually got a good amount of inspiration on that. I believe it's Plymouth Painter, if you're familiar. Anyone in the on the Instagrams of the Fallout stuff may know. I believe he did a similar technique for Swan's anchor there. At least I think that's how he did it. So I copied it. Was inspired by, if you will say. Getting a little bit of that highlight now from that hemp rope. Oh yeah. And if you're able to just sort of get the knots and leave sort of the underside alone, it again gets that hardware store look that like makes me nostalgic for building a tree fort as a kid or like some shit. That's really all about there is to it. And it's not so painful to do when it's just 3 little ropes, but the rest of this asshole is just covered in these things. Oh, there's so many. There's so many. But while we're here, we'll keep going and get some more ropes on his undercarriage here. How are we doing for time? We're looking good. We still got another 15 minutes. Plenty of time to get more ropage done on our guy here. Yeah, the sponging is it's a lot of fun. I've got some old school Space Marine Terminators. I guess they're technically proxies. From parts of them are GW, parts of them aren't, but I've got plans to kind of like strip them down and try an all stippling paint job on them to really make them look nasty. I usually like to paint my Warhammer stuff to keep it pretty clean, not grimdark, but it's always fun to try something new. So many ropes. I'm never going to want to paint a rope again after this. But that's why we're breaking this project up into 1-hour chunks over several months. I gotta say, this enjoying the live streams, loving that I'm finally getting some paint done on Swan. But more than that, it's great to have the Hangouts. Okay. It's coming together, one step at a time. E-Score P, I have Mysterio, Carnage, Venom, Kingpin, Green Goblin, but I can't wait for the new minis that were revealed. The Sandman, yes. Sandman. Yeah, what else was there? Yeah, Vulture, Electro, and ooh, I haven't seen Shocker. I have not seen the Shocker one yet. That is news to me. But yes, when I saw Sandman, that was just too cool. With the like his sand apparition minions, so cool. One of the weirdest Spider-Man villains, in my opinion. Just never makes any sense. Sand, he's Norman Osborn's cousin for some reason. They look exactly the same. Kane Marco. But yeah, no, that's a super cool one. Vulture looks awesome. The retro vibe's pretty cool. So many minis. Not enough money. Or time, for God's sake. Pile of opportunity. Devin says, always good hanging out. It is always good hanging out. Need to get back into painting again. I know, sir. It's one of those things, right? It's a cyclical thing. Like, I even found myself over the last few months, my the amount of time that I've had, and then like when I've got the time to get the motivation and the projects and yada yada yada, it can be tough. It goes through cycles, right? But yeah, that's one of the reasons that something like this has been so enjoyable. Breaking out of the norm, right? Trying something a little bit different. Oh, we've reached the point of the stream where I'm getting too close to the camera, so I gotta flip my hat around. Yeah, breaking things up I find is, at least for me, different strokes for different folks, obviously. But yeah, for me, trying something new, getting outside the box, buying something from a range you don't normally paint or play with. I know that can be a little bit tricky because, a lot of times if you're like me, when you're buying something new, it's because you're adding to, your special force or your army or whatever, right? So, picking up something from a different game you're not playing can seem, like your money is better spent elsewhere. But I really do enjoy mixing it up a bit. Swan's been great for that. The lion model was a ton of fun. Changed stuff up. Heck, even and since you're here now, Devin, I don't think you saw this earlier. Look familiar? A little Lancer. Stuff like this, right? This was, just change up the speed of what you're doing for a day to get some of that, get that feeling back. Aha! I thought you'd recognize that. Yes, indeed. Finally was able to, Devin ever so lovingly donated to the channel here a whole whack of terrain and a handful of minis and some really, really interesting pieces, which have yet to make their debut. But they are being worked on now, which is super fun. It always blows me away when folks reach out and want to help support us in those kinds of ways. So a big tip of my hat that is on backwards to you, sir. We got some cool terrain pieces. Gotta get cracking on. Not enough hours in the day. Like I said, we're filming Brotherhood of Steel, Enclave, new Bat Rep. 2 other ones in the can, all kinds of things in the works, but I'm only one man, and Justin isn't all that helpful. I'm kidding, he's plenty of help. Speaking of which, this Sunday, we are back, baby. in the prime timeline once again. Kansas, look out, because the Fistful of Neutrons gang is getting into some weird shit. We've got our Fallout 2D20 live stream this Sunday, 7:30. Really excited. If you missed our last episode, go back and watch it because things have escalated. Mads Destruction says, not that far away, Scott. 11:47 p.m. here in Denmark. Oh, there you go, Scott. I always forget you're off on across the pond on UK time, mate. Apologize for my terrible British accent. I can only really kind of do Liverpool, and only if I'm pretending to be John Lennon. But I'll stop now. I always do appreciate when see folks from far and away time zones take the time to sit down and have a little pink chat with us. Look at that. Man, how that makes it pop. Really liking how vivid his greens are playing with the reds. It's all like coming together here in some interesting ways. Just gonna do a little bit of cleanup here on this diaper. It looks to be another. It's hard to tell a little bit what's cloth and what's rope in some spots, but you know, like Uncle Adam always says, if you can't tell what it is, just throw paint on it. If it's gonna slow you down and get in your way, just throw some paint on that detail, move on. The underneath of the diaper is still playing kind of funny. Get a little bit of red in there, a little bit more coverage. There we go. That's better. Let's do a highlight on that at some point. But we'll get there. Need more silver. We're very low on gunmetal. Oh, I think we're out. Might have to switch things up. Ooh. I've never used this paint before. Chrome, baby! I forgot I bought this. Why did I buy this? Oh, I think I wanted to try it on one of the T45s. I'm gonna have to try that. I forgot I had this. So I've ran out of gunmetal. So this is an airbrush paint, technically. So I think it's gonna be pretty thin. Okay, let's take a look at it on the palette here. Oh yeah, it's super thin. You know what? I'm just gonna add a little bit of grayish sort of black to it. See what that does. Darkened it up too much. My ratios are off. The ratios are off. A little bit less. Okay, here we go. Ha! Gunmetal. Take that, army painter. Problem solved. I'm gonna be very careful with this on his little skull chains here at the back, because this paint is super runny. I don't want to get it on the red. work. Oh, very ginger. Look at that. You wouldn't know. It's not. Lead Belcher. The gunmetal. Same thing. Same difference. Would you look at that? We're in good shape. Justin, yes indeed. We have some crazy European fans, and I'm all about it. Look out, Eurovision. We're the next big thing. It is great to see that that the game has, for such a, American-centric game, that it that the Fallout love continues across the globe and translates to Wasteland Warfare and our stupid little channel. So we appreciate y'all. We know you have your choices of Fallout-related streams and things, and we appreciate you for choosing War Games News Radio. Please make sure your hands stay inside the vehicle at all times. Look at that. Well then, folks, we're doing very well. I think we're gonna put a little, do a little work on the skull, on the back here, and that'll probably be it for the day. Do my 3-part bone recipe, Xandri dust, a staple of my Dark Angels army. This color is great for skeletons and bones and things. Leaving some of the shadow from the black. Because what we're gonna do is get just a little sketched out here. And then a very quick edge highlight with Shapty Bone. Ta-da! Quick edge highlighter on the eyes and like the whatever these bones are. Justin, you're a fake doctor. What's your head bones? What's your head bones called? Medulla oblongata. Sketch in the shape of the skull here. Couple dots. Those dots are cool. And then we have a choice of watching Ryan paint or sleep, Matt's Destruction says. Well, I appreciate you watching me paint rather than getting a good night's rest. But that's okay. We're not going to keep you up for very much longer because we're just going to throw a wash on this skull. And that's going to be the last thing we're going to do here today because I can't do anything else with the skull until the wash dries. But to complete the tutorial on how I do bone, Xandri dust, Shapty bone, a brown wash, flesh wash, Agrax, Earthshade, whatever you got. And then a very highlight on the eye sockets and like the nose of Screaming Skull. There are easier ways to do it. This is just the one that I like. Skeleton Horde. You could probably skip these 2 steps and just use Skeleton Horde contrast paint after this. And it would probably look really nice and yellowed. But I like to go a little bit darker with this brown. Flesh Wash, which the irony of using it on a skeleton, it's not lost on me. But we'll see here, we go from kind of patchy and weird to, oh, that makes sense. There's a little skull. And once it dries, give it a quick edge highlight with that Screaming Skull. And that's it. And that is our Screaming Skull. And that is Swan's Diaper and Dumper done for another day. Thank you all so much for tuning in to this stream. We're going to call it at, just over the hour mark. Look at that there. Because we got to wait for some paint to dry. And there are a few things more boring than literally watching paint dry. But that's okay, because we're going to be back on Sunday. Really exciting for a new episode of Fistful of Neutrons, Season 2, which is going to be really, really exciting. If you missed the last episode, mentioned earlier, the party is split. Oh gosh, Johnny ended up doing some drugs with like he got messed up with the wrong crowd. Mr. Microwave is like going full spy espionage, and Grant is raising an army to try to take on the Children of Adam. Things are getting serious in Kansas, and we're probably getting near the end of the season. We appear to be reaching the sort of penultimate or ultimate arc of the season here, so we're probably only going to have like another, like, I would say less than, somewhere between probably like 5 and 10 episodes. So really exciting on where we're going to be going with the season and where we're headed next after that. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Swan is looking awesome. We are like, I want to say like 2 streams away from this thing. So whoever guessed 7 streams on our first one, you win a prize. I'll have to go back in the comment section and figure out who that was. But this is going to be a ton of fun. Next week, I think we'll finish off sort of just like these leg bits there, and then it's time to get to work on the Swan itself. So I think we'll be able to get sort of his lower half up to like his chest probably done next time around, and then we're back to getting on the top half there. And I have an idea for his face. We are going to paint his face, but I have an idea on how we're going to do that. And that's going to be like the last thing we do. So I won't spoil it, but we'll leave it at that there. Justin says, what's happening Sunday? Shut up, this guy. You're putting us through emotional and physical torture on Sunday because the characters we love are in a lot of trouble. But that's it. That's all for today. Thank you all for tuning in. Scott James, thank you, sir. Always great to chat with you as well. Devon Shipwreck, Mads Destruction, Work Schmirk. Who needs it? We're staying up late and we're painting tonight. Corbin Bear, I Score P, Frosts001. Oh my goodness, who else do we have hanging out here? We had the Enclave here. Where is your power armor? Always happy to see you in there. Dave Letiza, Lennon James, thank you all for tuning in. Sunday, 7:30, new episode, Fistful of Neutrons. It's all happening. Really stoked, really excited. And then by the end of this week, beginning of next week, we'll have the What the Fuck is Coming in Fallout 76 video teaser coming, as well as a new review of the Survivors, of the Settlers source book, new rulebook expansion for Fallout 2D20. There is so much happening. I need to clone myself so I can do more stuff, but getting ahead of myself. We'll come back to that. We'll talk more about Settlers, Settlers on Sunday, and we'll see you there on the stream. In fact, why don't let's do some giveaways on Sunday? We'll do some PDF giveaways of the new book. So there you go. Tune in, and we'll do some live streams. We'll do some giveaways. It'll be a good time. 7:30. See y'all there. Until then, bye bye.